So recently I was asked, when starting a t-shirt company, which is better, to have inventory of your product or just do print on demand? And that's a good question and not a simple one to answer because there are actually levels to this. So today we're going to discuss when starting a t-shirt, which one should you do? Should you just do strictly print on demand or should you have inventory or is it a combination of both? So let's discuss next here on Making the Brand. What's up, everybody? Rob Norman here from Planet Brooklyn Academy, and this is Making the Brand, the series where I give you a little insight and knowledge on how to start a clothing company, and if you already have one, how to make it better. As always, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything we drop when it drops. So, you're starting a t-shirt company, and you want to know whether to go with strictly print on demand or if you should have inventory in stock of your product. Well, should you do either or? Personally, I feel it is a hybrid of both. And also, depending on what you're doing. But in the end, I think it's a hybrid of both. So let's first look at print on demand. Print on demand is an amazing tool that was created for someone just starting a clothing company. So if you're just beginning and you have no money, print on demand is the easiest way to start because you can literally start a t-shirt company with little to no money. So let's just say you have $100. You can start this company with $100 and none of that money is even going into product. That's going into setting up your website and marketing and things like that. Print on demand is basically you taking orders and them printing it and them shipping it out. So the best thing about print on demand is that you can create tons and tons of graphics and put it up online and you can test market to see what graphics work and what graphics don't. You don't have to worry about spending tons of money to get shirts printed. You can actually do, actual testing online just to see who gravitates towards what. Now also, what's also great about this is that when you're doing on print on demand, remember, an order comes in, you know that the shirt you just designed to put online will cost you $10 for them to print. You're gonna charge $30 for the shirt. So you're making a $20 profit. So they print it, they send it out, and that's it. So again, you didn't spend any money. You just spent time setting up your website, designing your graphics, and that's it. That's the only thing you're spending is time. So it's the beauty of it. Now, the downside to having this is that one, you have no control over your quality of your product. And that's the main thing. When you're dealing with clothing, people always want to look at your quality. And if it's not good, they're going to look at you. And when you're dealing with print on demand, a lot of companies, when they're doing this, when the orders come in, certain companies will print it and then they're backed up. What they'll do is they'll farm it out to another company who will print it and then ship it. So if company A prints your first order and it comes out great and the customer gets it and they love it, then someone else places the same order for the same shirt, but company A can't do it. They send it off to company B and they print it. And the product printing may not be that good. So now you got an unhappy customer and they now, write, a comment about your garment saying it wasn't that great. You've got to take that L on it because you can't put the blame on the printing facility because when you're running a company, you want people to believe that everything is going through you. You don't want them to know what's going on behind the curtains. You don't want them to know that you don't have a printing facility or that you don't have direct access to the printing facility, that you are just using a print-on-demand company. They don't need to know that. But with that, you have to also accept the fact that if quality isn't good, you're gonna have to take the blame for that. And that's the downside of having print-on-demand because the printing may not be consistent. Now, another issue you have when you have print on demand is that those products will get shipped out when they can be shipped out. And most times they're shipped out in a reasonable amount of time. But if something goes wrong and they're backed up with product and your orders come in, they may not be able to ship within that 5 to 7 day time frame. It may take a little bit longer than that. And that also will hinder your business when people look at that and saying, well, they have great product, but it takes too long to ship it. You don't want that. And this is another downside with dealing with print on demand because now your product is not in your hands, it is in someone else's hands. So you can't, really complain if they can't ship it on time or whatever. So those are the downsides to print on demand and the upsides. Now, let's look at the flip side of this. When we're looking at inventory one, you have to have money up front, because if you're going to print stuff, you have to have money. And most printing facilities have a minimum of maybe 2 dozen, items you have to print minimum. So you can't do like these like half a dozen or sometimes a dozen. Sometimes the minimum is 2 dozen. So you got to be willing to put that much money into this. And if you're designing something, you may not want to just do one shirt. You may want to do 3 or 4 shirts, and also multiple colors and multiple sizes. So this is where it starts getting expensive. So keeping inventory is an investment. So if you're going to go that route, you have to know that you are going to spend money. On top of that, you talk about marketing, building a website. Whereas when we just said about how print on demand is, it's very low overhead, but you do have these other obstacles you have to deal with. When you're dealing with inventory, you can talk to your printer, you can see what goes wrong, what's not right. You can tell them print things over again. Now you have your product. And even though you spend more money on it, at least you know your quality is good. You know when the order comes in, you ship it out on time. You have none of those issues. The con with this though is that when you spend all this money, you're not getting the opportunity to exactly try a lot of different designs. You kind of have to pretty much put your bet on certain designs, knowing that these are going to be the key sellers, or at least you believe these are going to be the key sellers, and put your money into that. Because if you turn around and try to put your money into everything, you're going to blow through too much money. So the upside on print on demand is that you could put out a ton of designs and not spend no money, but at least get good feedback on what works and what doesn't. When you're doing inventory, you're basically taking a guess, an educated guess on what you believe people like, and then you're going to put it out. Now, if those things don't sell, that's a problem. Again, print on demand, if it doesn't sell, you don't have to worry because you didn't put no money into it. You can just take the graphic down, put a new graphic up. But when you're talking about having inventory, you're stuck with that. So now if it doesn't move, and say you're doing your spring line and you didn't move all your product, but now you need to have your summer line, that money you was hoping to get from selling everything in spring, you may not have all of it. So now you can't really produce your summer line the way you want. So this is the downside of having inventory. But the upside of having inventory also is that besides having control of your when things ship out, also quality control, you also know that when you do events, whether you're doing pop-ups or you're doing festivals, you have product on hand to just be able to go there and sell it. Whereas print on demand, you don't have that. No one wants to go to an event with an iPad and tell people, hey, you can purchase this shirt, from our site. Most people come to an event to walk away with an item. So in that case, that's where that doesn't work. But if you have inventory, you can definitely take it to events and sell it. Also, if your item isn't moving, it's easy enough to take those products and go to a mom and pop store and say, hey, if they're in line with the type of business you're doing, you can go there and say, hey, look, I have this tee, I think I'm working good in your store, and then you can do a deal with them, and then they can sell off the product that you couldn't move, and you can do it in multiple locations. Also, if you have people in different states that can take it off your hands and they can push it there, that's other ways to move the product. So you're not at a loss, it's just that you may not be able to move it on your own at one time, but you do know that you have to make money off of this because you invested so much money into it. So you're hustling a lot more when you have inventory opposed to on print on demand. You're not hustling as hard because you're not losing anything. Whereas, inventory, you have money at stake here and you have to move. Now, the reason why I say that doing a little bit of both is best is because, and again, you can do either one you want, but at the end of the day, a hybrid of both is probably the proper way to go. And the reason why I say this is because if you don't have a lot of money, you can start off with print on demand. And with print on demand, once you're doing that and you can see what items are selling, which items are working, if you know that, design number 1 and design number 3 work really well for you and have been selling, you can now print those and start inventorying those items so that you can do events or wherever else you want to sell it, because you have a track record. You know that these items have sold. So it's not like you're doing a blind shot in the dark where, with just inventory, you have to guess what's going to work and pray that the designs you pick will work. At least with print on demand, maybe for a few weeks, maybe even a few months, you're just testing the market to see who's gravitating towards what's graphics. You put up a few graphics, certain ones that don't work, you take down. The ones who are working, let's buy into inventory. And then you can buy inventory, and like I said, now you can sell those items at pop-up shops if you want to do, or you can now wholesale it to mom and pop stores to start carrying it, because at least you have a track record. You're not really scared about losing money for those things. Also, if you keep inventory of those things and just say you have a certain amount that's not moving that you have, all you have to do is go online and turn off the print on demand, icon for that particular tee. And when the orders come in, you can just ship those items you already have in stock and just move that until you get rid of all of it, and then turn back on the switch for print on demand for that shirt. So then the printing company can do it. So that's how I recommend you doing a hybrid of it, because at that way, at least when you start your business, you're not spending a lot of money. And as you start to make money, now you can go into inventory and holding inventory of key items, and then you can work it that way. And again, if it doesn't work, you always can go back selling it online directly from you, and then let it go back into the print on demand. And again, you can wholesale it to other people. But I think you need to start off. If you have the capital, you can start off with inventory, but I recommend going the print on demand route first to really get your money up and really get a feel of who likes what of your brand, and then go into inventory. So hopefully it answers the question of which is better, because again, neither one is better than the other, but together they're both great. So again, hope that helped you guys out. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the question section below, and I'll be sure to answer that. And as always, we drop new videos every week, and I look forward to giving you guys a new video later on. So until next time, I catch you guys later. Peace.